They come here, the officer walks, their prisoner through here.
This is the first step.
Yeah, first step.
Jefferson County Sheriff Zena Stevens starts our tour of the county jail in the intake area.
So everyone here is a new arrival. And some of them, I take it, have been here before.
Yep, absolutely. We get a lot of frequent flyers.
Whether first-time or repeat offenders, the Jefferson County Correctional Facility is a busy place these days.
Because of COVID and increased crime rates, our numbers are higher than they've been, in decades.
Sheriff Stevens says roughly 850 inmates are housed at the detention center any given day right now.
It can be interesting at times, challenging at times.
After they're entered into the system, this is the next step in the process. In this chair right here, thousands sit every year, from murder suspects to those arrested for drunk driving, and they pose for their criminal mugshot. No matter where you get arrested in Jefferson County, you end up locked up here. Drugs, assaults, theft, and burglary are the most common charges landing men and women here.
And we can tell as they're moving through the facility you see he's got a blue jumper, and so different colors mean different levels of classification.
Red is maximum security. Jefferson County houses 85 accused killers, including 4 inmates charged with capital murder and 66 charged with murder. That
has the potential to be volatile at times because we get people from the most minor crimes to the most serious crimes, but also a large part of our population are people who suffer with mental illness and addictions. We're charged with providing them medical attention, mental health attention, all those things. And so I think a lot of people don't think in those terms, how much it costs county taxpayers.
All told, running the jail comes at an annual cost of more than $65 million. The medical unit costs $7 million a year, and that doesn't include outsourcing expenses for things like inmate dialysis. And county taxpayers spend $1.7 million every year on food.
How is the food? Have you tried it?
Yeah, so my rule is if I can't eat it, I don't want the inmates eating it.
Meals are served 3 times a day, approved by a nutritionist.
For a meal, $1.30, you're not going to get a ribeye.
Inmates also have access to the commissary. Ramen noodles are by far the most popular item sold here. That's virtually a delicacy when you're eating in a cell.
We're in the chapel.
There's a place for worship and educational facilities.
All right.
Eyes in the sky are always on and watching to stop fights that may break out. Sheriff Stevens says having a safe facility is first and foremost.
Hey, Miss Green, it's Martin. Lieutenant Ford out there?
How often do you get heckled?
Back there in the correctional facility, I tell people all the time, I have never been disrespected since I've been here, and I go back there on a regular basis. I think a lot of it has to do with how you treat people. And hey, y'all.
The jail is a tight-knit community, but still one where you never
straight ahead
want to be admitted.
Gonna do the vehicle that is going to be turning out at a Vider.
The driver of this white Audi made a pit stop at the Stuckey's on I-10 West and Jenkins Road. Cornered by Chambers County deputies, the driver raced away, driving recklessly in the parking lot, soon taking this luxury ride off-roading, flooring it down I-10 in Chambers County. Deputies had be on the lookout alerts for the Audi because a family on North Lakeside Street in Vider had been carjacked at gunpoint an hour or so before. This was a suspect law enforcement felt could be as dangerous as his driving. Eventually, spike strips stopped Aubrey Young of New Orleans, popping a front tire, ending the pursuit safely and successfully.
Every day there is some kind of criminal activity that is on Interstate 10.
Brian Hawthorne is sheriff of Chambers County. Armed criminals are traveling I-10 with the rest of us, he says, but they're moving drugs east and money west, back toward the border. Getting caught comes at a huge price, so they often run.
If you were to look at 52 weeks of the year, we're having a high-speed pursuit at least once a week.
Hawthorne says the numbers show more drivers are getting brazen, throwing out all of the rules of the road.
You're traveling westbound in the eastbound lane, Chambers. You just moved to the outside shoulder.
Absolutely, no doubt. We probably have seen an extremely large uptick in the last 3 to 5 years.
Here's another stolen vehicle driven by Derek Brown of Dallas. Eyewitnesses say he was running cars off the road in the stolen Ford Raptor. A state trooper sees an opportunity to end his evading with a pit maneuver. Deputies receive professional driving training on DPS's track, but it all starts with the decision to pursue or not to pursue.
It's sad when we finally come to a resolution of a high-speed pursuit and the only reason they were running was because they were speeding or they ran a stop sign or they had a misdemeanor warrant out for their arrest. On the flip side, are we chasing somebody that has just kidnapped somebody, or are we chasing somebody that has just committed a violent crime in Beaumont or Houston?
Hawthorne says public safety comes first and foremost.
It's going into Houston or it's going into Beaumont, it's leaving Chambers County, then quite often we will terminate those pursuits. If it means like a school zone or a heavy traffic area, it's not worth it. We would rather that criminal be caught another day.
Sorry, it's just facts.
The crime drama faithful tune into KFDM Thursday nights for CSI Vegas.
Science will tell us if how things look is how they really are.
The CSI team deploys the latest techniques in Las Vegas, solving gruesome mysteries with dramatic twists, turns, and Sin City crime scene cliffhangers. The glitz, the glamour, and those fancy high-tech gadgets all come from the minds of creative writers in CSI Vegas. Hollywood's fiction is much different than the reality of CSI Jefferson County. Housed inside the jail, the Jefferson County Regional Crime Lab.
This is where all the magic is done.
Yeah, so
The magic is forensic science. Emily Esquivel is the crime lab director.
So all the analysis is done in each one of these rooms.
Analyzing blood and breathalyzer tests from drunk driving arrests makes up 14% of the cases in the crime lab. But this is one of the busiest rooms. From prescription pills stolen from pharmacies or grandma's medicine cabinet to the hardest of street drugs seized during an arrest, narcotics testing goes on all day, every day. About 70% of the lab work.
Most common is drug evidence.
Drug evidence, you get that in every day, I take it?
Every day.
These machines are hooked up all day to process evidence from those hooked on drugs, mostly meth lately. They're known as gas chromatograph mass spectrometer instruments, CCMS for short, and they come at a cost, roughly $100,000 a pop, a small part of a big budget.
We're about a $1.7 million budget.
And she says costs are going up. While about 70% of the work done in the lab involves drug testing, about 4% involves testing evidence from violent crime.
So we're screening victims' clothing, suspect clothing, weapons. So if the weapon is a knife or maybe rope.
Firearms is a section in itself. This gun with blood spatter was used in a crime. Ballistics can prove a suspect's guilt or innocence.
I'm a believer in following the evidence.
Jefferson County Sheriff Zena Stevens says sometimes the work done here leads law enforcement in a different direction.
This is where STEM and science meet criminal justice.
The crime lab handles cases for every law enforcement agency in Jefferson and Orange County, and it also has contracts with nearby smaller counties. The staff of 12 are highly trained scientists, each with a specialty. They examine the evidence, ranging from routine arrests to the most violent robberies and heinous murders.
There is a part of the world, people in our community who are dangerous.
Whether blood, ballistics, or DNA, Stevens says forensic science is more often than not needed for a conviction. She says we're riding a crime wave, and solving crime under a microscope takes time in the real world of CSI.
We don't have screens in the air where we can press invisible buttons and it solves a case, in 5 minutes.
Analysis takes time. So, in TV we see that they're able to figure it all out within an hour. And they specialize in everything. Everyone here is specialized usually in one or two areas, not in everything. And it takes time.
A few hundred yards from this lab, in a cell, sits Clayton Foreman. It took 26 years, but he's charged with the capital murder of Mary Catherine Edwards, a Beaumont teacher killed in 1995. A Texas Ranger helped heat up this cold case through DNA. Testing of the genetic evidence in this crime lab was the next step, leading to Foreman's arrest in Ohio 2 years ago last month.
From DNA off of her, we're able to go and match that DNA genetically with some of his family members and kind of work backwards until they got to him.
Investigators combined forces in the pursuit of justice. Forensic science will be key to the prosecutor's case when Foreman is brought to trial.
Hopefully, it will show that the importance of DNA and having crime labs and professionals who work here can make a difference in even cold cases.